Okay, second part. Something I forgot to say last time is that I was 21 years old and Shane was 31 when we got together. And I said I wanted an older man. I didn't mean quite 10 years older, but that's what happened. Um, Also, during that first beginning few weeks there, the song by Monica Angel of Mine was like my first dedicated song to Shane. Else is back in 1999, I didn't know anything about red flags like we do. Everything's a red flag now. I didn't know about that. I just knew something wasn't right, something didn't sit well, and I ignored my gut instincts. Okay, so for the month of February '99, I was reading through the journal entries, and it's just crazy. One minute things are going good, the next minute they're not. My emotions are all over the place. I don't know if I'm coming or going. I don't know how he feels. One minute he's lovey-dovey on me, the next minute he acts like he doesn't even want to look at me. He can't stand me. Um, he did tell me that he was waiting for the girl to come along and sweep him off his feet. So I did take a broom and sweep across his feet a few different times, trying to be like, hey, I'm right here. But of course, that was at a different time that I swept his feet with the broom. But there was a situation with Lindsay where she had been tanning and getting pretty dark, and he commented, and I'm like, oh, you should see how dark she's really gotten. And she had a little Playboy bunny like on her, kind of on her hip, pelvis area. And he acted like he didn't want to look. And so I said that. He's like, actually, about looking so far down or something. He's like, actually, it's not down far enough. And I thought that was pretty wrong of him to say to his girlfriend about not being able to see down further in other girls' pants. He also brought up his ex-girlfriend, Michelle, and said that if this redhead girl named Michelle comes by, not to believe anything that she says because she's a liar. And then he went on to tell me the story about their relationship or whatever. But now looking back on that, it's like, did something happen between them early on in our relationship and I didn't know about it? And so he was like letting me know, hey, don't believe her ahead of time. I don't know. Michelle never showed up. She does play a part later on, but that was all my doing. Also, Valentine's Day is in February, and we woke up, he wished me happy Valentine's Day, which made me feel good until he rolled over and wished the dogs happy Valentine's Day, and that made me feel some kind of way, like chopped liver, like it didn't even mean anything. And then he decided he was going to go to his friends, Gene and Deb's, and he asked me if I wanted to go, but it didn't seem like he really wanted me to, so I said no. I figured it would give him a chance to get out and get me something for Valentine's Day because we've been spending a lot of time together. As a matter of fact, I'm practically living with him. Where I'd been staying, they moved all my stuff to the attic, gave my room away to someone else, and so I got all my stuff and put it in Shane's garage, and so all my stuff was there, and I'm staying with him practically every night. Every now and then I'll go stay down at Jen's house or whatever, which eventually I was able to talk to them about everything that was going on. He'd act kind of funny sometimes when they were over. He'd be downstairs with me, they'd come over, he'd go sit upstairs, and then he told me at one point that he felt like I was talking about our problems too much to my friends, and he wanted me to talk more to him about it than them. He didn't want them all in our business. Whether or not they were going back telling him stuff I was saying, I don't know to this day, but how did he know that I was talking to them about us, about me and him? I don't know. So back to Valentine's Day. I left to go buy some more things for him for Valentine's Day. And when I came back, he was home cooking spaghetti. And I'm thinking, oh, I guess we're not going out anywhere because he's clearly cooking dinner. And he didn't give me anything for Valentine's Day. And like, I didn't expect to get any I love yous or anything from him because it's early on in the relationship. And I'm pretty positive he doesn't love me. But he could have gotten me something to celebrate that holiday. So I got mad and I threw all his stuff in the trash, and little stuffed animals I had, I let the dogs chew them up. He's having a lot of mood swings during this time, and I'm suspecting he told me when we first started talking that he used to do crack, so he had a bad crack habit, and he got clean, and so I'm thinking his mood swings is he's back to using, which at one point he did tell me that he does still use here and there on occasion. So I'm thinking that's really what's going on. I don't know for sure or not, but his moods are just all over the place. My friend Dustin, he comes around a few times during February. He's underage, and I know I shouldn't have done this, but I would buy liquor for him. He had to buy me something in return. And so he came around a few times and I did that. But everybody was thinking I was pregnant. I kind of even suspected maybe I was pregnant because I was being very emotional. I was doing a lot of crying because my feelings were hurt so much by Shane. This is how he was treating me and being so cold. I did a lot of crying, and so I'm like, I'm really emotional. I don't think I'm pregnant, but maybe I'm pregnant. Everybody else suspects that I'm pregnant. They asked if we were using protection, and we were doing the pull-out method for the beginning of the relationship, and then he just stopped and would just stay until he went soft. So everyone's thinking he's trying to get me pregnant. Eventually I do take a test. I go to a women's center and I'm not pregnant, which is a good thing because I'm smoking weed and I'm drinking alcohol and doing stuff you're not supposed to do when you're pregnant. So a few days after Valentine's Day, Shane tells me that he wants me to leave, that he lives with his dad because that way he doesn't have to worry about a woman moving in with him. At first it was, if I could just give him a couple of days here and there, staying away, or come and stay every other night. He felt like I was smothering him because I was always there. And I can kind of understand that now because almost immediately I moved in with him and he wasn't used to being in a relationship. So, but I write in my journal about how upset I am, and I feel like it's the end of the relationship and I feel nauseous. This is before I took the test and knew I wasn't pregnant, but I'm thinking it's just my nerves. But I really felt like this was the end of everything. It just seemed so final, the moving out of his house. And then he turns around and asked me to go out to Hacienda with him and his friends, Jeff and Amy. So we go out, we have some liquor, we have some good food, we come back, we drink some more alcohol, and he asked me to stay the night. And it's like, what the fuck? You just said you want me to leave, but yet you're asking me to stay. And he brought up just a few days before that, actions speak louder than words, and his actions aren't telling me that he wants me to go. One day he really opened up to me and started sharing about like his childhood and things that he went through, and I felt like we were making some good progress in a relationship because he's actually opening up and sharing with me, and that's what I've been wanting. Also, we have gotten into it about Whitney. He doesn't like the way that I parent. I don't remember exactly what he didn't like about my parenting, other than he thought I was too soft on her. But when I tried to actually discuss things with him, he didn't want to talk about it. He just was like, people are going to raise their kids how they want to raise them, and was done with it. And I felt like we needed to discuss it because we were going to be raising our kids together. So one day me and Sarah are out going to the mall, and I see Steve. He drives by and he honks and waves, and I thought about like stopping by and checking out his apartment because I actually helped paint it in the beginning process. I'd like to see how it turned out. But then I'm like, no, I really probably shouldn't go because he's going to try and mess with me, and I didn't want to have to deal with any of that. So February 17th was our 1 month anniversary, and I told him when we woke up, and he wished me a happy anniversary and gave me a kiss and made me feel so loved. That's also the day I took the pregnancy test and found out that I was not in fact pregnant. Okay, so This is something I kind of already mentioned, but I'm going to read the passage. Something about how it's been like 3 years since he's been in love, a serious relationship. That there's been girls, but none of them that have lived with him. And that's why he basically lives with his dad. Because he knows when he's serious about someone, he's going to have to get his own place or some shit. But he just made me feel like he's just wasting time with me until the one comes along. And I don't want or need that. I want someone who's going to be head over heels in love with me, like the way I'm starting to feel for Shane. But why stick around so he can hurt me? I don't know what to do. There's just something about his eyes. I'm just going to stay away for a couple of days. That way I can distance my heart and pull the emotions that I'm feeling. Distance my heart and all the emotions that I'm feeling for Shane. I just found the perfect song that explains, and it is Gloria Stefan's Can't Stay Away From You. So to help with picturing faces with names, I'm going to show some pictures. That's me in the middle there, which you can tell me. So it's Jen, the mom, Lindsay, the daughter, and Sarah here on the end, the oldest daughter. And then here's me and Shane. It's one of the first pictures of us together. And I have to tell you, you can see basically what I look like. Shane thought I was fat. I was 126 pounds when I met him. And the type of girls he usually dated were smaller than me. He was 5'8", 160 pounds at his heaviest. I'm 5'4", I was 126, and I could fit his jeans. So that tells you the comparison of our size. And my face looks like that in the picture because I was saying men. They're Robbie, the brother. He told us all to say men when he took the picture, and I was the only one dumb enough to say men. So the second part of February, things went a little bit better. We spent a lot of time wrestling around and playing, and him cuddling me and kissing me, and really starting to fall in love with him. However, I did tell him when we first started talking that I'm crazy and that my nickname is Psycho Bitch. Shane's even spending some time with Whitney, even though he still gets annoyed by her sometimes, but they're spending time together doing things, and I'm really happy about that. Now on the 20th of February, Bethany shows up. And Bethany is a friend that I went to high school with that I really, really liked. And so when me and Shane first started, she was over at his house one day, and I was like just so happy to see her. I was just thrilled. And she moved away, and so now she has popped back up. She's moved back. I believe she'd come from California. And so it took me a while to put two and two together, but Shane calls Bethany Beth. And he told me the story about this girl that he was really into named Beth, and how he had a threesome with her and one of her friends, and something about they had cheese and they chewed like the center out or whatever and had the cheese hanging from the nipples when he came from upstairs, downstairs, and whatever. But Shane is in love with Bethany. And I wasn't putting two and two together at first because I know her as Bethany and not Beth. So over the course of those few weeks, month that we were together, he'd talk about Beth. I wasn't associating that with Bethany at all. And it still took a while after she came back around before I realized that she's the girl that he had been talking about all this time that I feel like he's in love with. So Shane and I, even though we're like hanging out and we're wrestling and loving on each other and doing all that, he won't go out with me. Like, I'll suggest us go do something and he falls asleep. Oh, let me take a nap. And he goes to sleep. It's always something. He won't go out with me. But then when Beth shows up later that day, because she showed up and we weren't there, and then she showed back up later that night,
and he suggested all kinds of places where we could go out to eat. And so we wound up going to, I think it was Wings, etc. And I'm not much of a meat eater, so I ate just french fries. But his van only has 2 seats, so she sat like in the middle on a bucket. And I remember we smoked a joint, and it seemed like all his attention was on her after that. Like, he didn't pay any attention to me, he didn't look at me. He even went as far as calling her sweetie, and that's something he usually calls me. And I was pissed, and Bethany could tell I was pissed when he did that. And at that point, we were leaving, get ready to head home. But we sat and talked, and she said that she thought it'd be really, really cool if, like, in a year, me and Shane were to get married. And I'm thinking to myself, I would love that, but I don't think that he feels that way about me at all. February 27th. We had the best fucking sex, I think, yet. My God, I really think I'm in love. I want to tell him I love him, but I don't think he would respond well to me telling him that. Shane held me all morning long, but once we got up, I was hit by reality. I said something about how lambs are my favorite animals, and he told me that his Chinese horoscope sign is a lamb/ram. So I told him that my Chinese horoscope told me that Buddy and I weren't a good match, which Buddy is my ex-husband. And we said, yeah, right, whatever, because we were on our anniversary. And so Shane got mad about that. And he's like, why are you talking about Bud? And he said that anytime I talk about my exes, he just tunes me out. And it really pissed me off because he could be learning vital information about me, what I like, what I don't like, who I'm compatible with. I mean, there's all kinds of information and talking about an ex and how that relationship went that he can learn from. And he just tunes me out. But I listened to him when he talked about Allison or any of his other exes. I didn't have an issue with it at all. I didn't feel any type of way about it. I was actually glad he was sharing with me. Here's Bethany. That's Bethany and Sarah after they had their babies. But so you guys can see what she looks like.